Welcome to the Family Milk Cow podcast, where in every episode I cover topics that equip you with the skills and know how to look after your girls in the barn. Family milk cows are more than just livestock, they are a part of our families. They deserve the best care possible from knowledgeable and responsible owners. So pull up a chair or your milk stool and let's dive into another episode of the Family Milk Cow podcast. Hey friends, it's your host here, Kelsey Wolf. You can also find me on the blog and YouTube channel Rough and Tumble Farmhouse. Today we are talking about raw milk laws in the United States. Raw milk laws vary so much here in the United States, state by state. Of course, if you're in different countries around the world, raw milk laws vary country by country and probably region by region in different countries, I imagine too. And interestingly, before we dive into talking about raw milk laws here stateside, I was taking a look at some sort of podcast analytics things just to see where listeners of the podcast are from. And of course, the bulk of our listeners are from the United States, which I kind of expected. And then Canada is next, and then the UK, Ireland, and check this out. Next on the list, we have Switzerland, Sweden, Costa Rica, Latvia, Australia, and Russia. So, hello to all the wonderful listeners from all around the world. It is so cool that you are wanting to connect with the milk cow community, even if it is here in the United States. Now, as I was saying, in the US, raw milk laws vary completely state to state. So, in some states, it is completely and totally illegal, and in most states, it exists in a little bit of a gray area. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire list of all the states and tell you exactly what the rules and regulations are because they can be pretty in-depth and specific, like oddly specific. But I am going to take you through some of the general definitions. So if you're kind of navigating raw milk sales, whether you're thinking about selling it or it's something you're interested in buying, to kind of talk through what sort of things you might come across as you are learning about the legality in your specific state. To start off with, there are a couple of states where raw milk is just straight up a no-go. And I'm very sorry if you're in those states, but those are Hawaii, Rhode Island, and Nevada. They are very strict. There's really no gray area. There's no kind of sneaky wink wink way you get around it. It is just illegal in those three states. I'm really sorry, you guys. Let's dive in now and talk about some other definitions and things you are going to come across when raw milk is involved. One of the first ways you're going to see it sold is as pet food. Some states, it is legally sold under the sort of wink wink name or title description of pet milk. So if you are buying it for purposes of feeding your pets for whatever reason, then it is legal. Of course, whether you're actually buying it as milk for your pets, that's entirely up to you, but that is something you might see that it's legal as pet milk. Another thing you might come across is that raw milk is available for sale via different permits. Not all states have a permitting process, but some do. What that means is through some state regulatory agency, someone is coming out to the farm, they're performing some sort of inspection, and then allowing you to sell raw milk in some form or another. It depends on the state whether or not it is available just on your farm. If it's available via retail, that's going to vary completely as well. Unfortunately, that's going to be the theme. If we were going to make a drinking game out of this episode, it's going to vary by state. Would be when you take a shot of whatever. The next thing you're going to see is direct to consumer. That basically means there cannot be a middleman. You can't sell it to a grocery store and then the grocery store gets it to the customer or anything like that, a restaurant. It has to go straight from your farm to a consumer. And again, get your shot glasses ready. It's going to vary from state by state, whether or not that means direct to consumer means they have to come to the farm or direct to consumer means you can somehow deliver that milk to the consumer, or they might be able to come to the farmer's market and buy it directly from you. That's going to completely vary by state. Another designation you'll see is that on farm might be legal. So, what on farm means is that people have to come to the farm to buy the milk. You can't take it to a farmer's market. You can't deliver it to their homes. You can't have it at a co op or something. The customers have to come directly to your farm to purchase the milk. The next one that is a kind of pretty liberal option that you'll see in just a handful of states where it's legal to sell via retail. That means that you can go to a restaurant, you can go to a grocery store and purchase raw milk. I have not ever gotten to just go into a grocery store and buy raw milk. I'll talk a little bit about Minnesota specific laws here at the end. But boy, that would kind of be a dream just to be able to go into a store and buy your raw milk. Another thing you're going to see as an option is herd shares and cow shares. How this works is the consumer, the person who wants the milk, buys either a share of a cow or a share of a whole herd of cows, thereby making them an owner of the animal. As such, you, the farmer, are then just bringing the milk from their cow, or they're coming and picking up milk from their cow. Technically, they own it, or they own a part of it, so the milk is theirs, and you are being paid for the act or service of milking the animal and maintaining the animal. There are a lot of different ways that herd shares can work. I know there was a speaker, I can't remember who it was now, at a conference, the Northern Plains Conference in North Dakota, where they ran a herd share in North Dakota, where herd shares were legal at the time. I'm not sure what it is now. I think they maybe have even kind of looser laws around raw milk, but they were able to run a herd share and actually could deliver their milk. So they bottled it on their farm and then drove it around to kind of the Fargo Moorhead area, as sort of the big city, the big cities, so to speak, in eastern North Dakota. So through their herd share kind of laws and loopholes, they were able to actually deliver that milk to customers. Now, that might not be the same with every state. You might still have to come and pick it up from the farm. Or maybe they have sort of like CSAs sometimes do have a drop site where you go and pick it up. It's going to vary by state. Take a shot. With herd shares, there is always paperwork involved, usually signing up for the agreement. If you decide you no longer want to be a part of a herd share, or typically, if you're on the selling end of this, then the customer, it's part of the agreement they're signing, they relinquish their share of the cow, and then you sell that share to someone else. Depending on the size of the farm, it will make sense to do either a cow share or a herd share. And this is something that people have really been able to make pretty profitable. The last, and this one sounds pretty dreamy to me too, is home delivery is sometimes legal in some states. Again, just like I was talking about with that herd share in North Dakota, where the raw milk can be brought right to your door, just like the good old milkman days. Now, there are much deeper and more complicated specifics around all the laws in different states. In some of them, it's legal to sell raw milk unpermitted as long as it is less than 6 goats and less than 1 cow, and as if that is somehow the cutoff of what you can reasonably and safely manage in terms of goats. I don't know. I guess 6 is a pretty good number, but still. Why they come up with 6, I don't know. But there are those kind of funky specifics sometimes in the laws of each state. So if you are planning on selling raw milk, make sure you're really familiar with what those are. Here in Minnesota, for example, on farm sales are legal. You have to come to the farm to get your milk. You also have to bring your own jars. I cannot put milk in mason jars and then set it out in my fridge and you come and get it. You have to bring your own jars. I can't have you at the beginning of the week or something bring me 6 jars and a label that those are your jars and then put the milk into your jars and give it to you. It's kind of funky, but I guess it has to do probably with cleanliness. It's not my business whether or not my jars are clean enough. It's up to you to have your jars be sanitized. Maybe that's sort of the logic behind that. I do know that one of my friends who has sold raw milk from her farm for a long time, that is one of her biggest pet peeves and complaints is that she's not getting clean jars back. She's not getting dry jars back, which is super important. So, of course, there are issues that come up with that too. Raw milk laws, of course, being really fluid and changing or having the opportunity to change every time each individual state's legislature is in session. It just means that you should make sure you're staying on top of this if you're planning on selling raw milk or if you're purchasing raw milk. Oftentimes, unless you're in one of those kind of 3 really tough states, there is sort of a pet milk wink wink sort of a thing you can work with. Just make sure you understand what the laws and regulations are to protect yourself and to protect your customers, of course, too. That's going to do it today for this episode. And shockingly, this is episode 8 already of season 2, which means we just have 4 more episodes left. If you've stuck with me this far, thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be back in your ear again next week. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Family Milk Cow Podcast. You can become a part of the Family Milk Cow Podcast by joining the Milkmaid Brigade, sponsoring an episode, or following along on social media. You can find links for all these and more, including show notes, at familymilkcowpodcast.com. If you love what you're hearing, please rate, review, subscribe, and turn on those automatic downloads. One of the best ways to support this show is simply by sharing it. And as always, make sure to give your girl down in the barn a good scratch behind the ears from me.